Dante's Discussion. Welcome back to another edition of Dante's Discussion. This time it's the answers portion. I know you've been waiting for 2 weeks for this madness. That's right, it's your answers I'm putting in this video of the question, when should you start attacking an opponent? Of course, this pertains specifically to Dark Souls 2 because that's the game I'm using for this. Some people, interestingly, I guess it's sort of my fault, is maybe I didn't explain it well enough, answered a different type of question of when you should start attacking an opponent as far as when you're already in battle. Now, my question was more for before the fight starts. When should you start attacking? And I thought I put that clear. I mean, here's the question anyways, but whatever. I guess we'll sort of answer everybody's question slightly. So let's just go right off the bat. Let's go to FextraLife. This is someone who I don't really understand their statement partially, but anyways, we'll try. I think they mean as far as when you should start attacking. Anyways, unfortunately, this is Samich88 says, unfortunately, this isn't like Dark Souls 2 in PvP aspect. The game's lock-on mechanic is much stronger here since your roll becomes a dash-in lock-on, relies on it. And you can't truly aim your weapon while in dash mode. I notice in Dark Souls 2 you can still aim while you dash and attack, but in Bloodborne, the moment you press that trigger, you're locked into a linear attack in the direction you were dashing. Okay. I don't know, maybe this guy was in wrong form, or I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to say here. As far as being able to attack and aim while attacking, Dark Souls 2, you have some ability to aim your attack. I guess I've never played Bloodborne, so I can't tell you, but I guess in Bloodborne, when you swing, you are committed to that, which I kind of like. It kind of makes a new sort of way to play. It's kind of cool. Anyways, I don't even know how to reply to that, but I figured I'd put it in because it's confusing. Anyways, all right, so let's go to let's try to run through these quick. I actually have a lot, surprisingly, but let's go back to YouTube. Skunk Guy says, I think this is the first person who might have been a little bit confused on what I was trying to say. Anyways, Skunk Guy says, if in PvP you have to identify your opponent like their weapon, slow weapon, fast weapons, if you time it, you can get an attack or two, and it's easy to move, cancel. You have to use mind games and plan your attack. That's all. See ya. I think he's going with the question is, when do you attack? You have to gauge what weapons there are, which he's correct. You really do. I mean, either way, even if it's invisible, I think if it's invisible, you really need to be aware, and you have to, you can't really attack first. Otherwise, you might be really punished by a weapon you didn't think they would have had. But yeah, no, that's how it goes. Kyle Lilly, another person, I guess a little confused on the question, but he says, when there's an opening, when they parry spam, just don't get parried. May not be easy as one may think. Well, I guess for me, it's very simple. Sorry, usually I get better responses. I'm a smart, aggressive player. I'd say F wait and see tribe. I'm with them. F the wait and seers. A lot of people like to play that way. It is, it's probably the tribe that wins the most, I'm guessing. They probably have the highest win rate just because of how that style is. Vendrick Mini says, I personally think the right time to attack is when they go to heal, of course, or when your opponent is through 3/4 of their roll animation, or last but not least, when their stamina finishes. You can easily tell when their stamina finishes by slow movement, slow attacking, or constant backing up. That's true. All that is true. You want to roll punish people 3/4 in the roll. When they heal, obviously you want to try to stop that, and you can tell when people's stamina is low. Either they huff and puff, or it's like, wow, they just did 10 attacks in a row. They have to be out at that point, or very close to it. One more roll. Usually what a lot of people do, and this is how I attack people, is they do all their attacks or rolls or whatever, and then they sort of save a little tiny bit of stamina just so they can roll one more time. And that's when I run after them, wait for that roll, and then attack. Because then they can't roll again, usually. But, sometimes I, like everybody, don't gauge that exactly correctly. All right, so Tales of a Fox says, first, everyone attacks me. I played Dark Souls since the release of the Light Edition. You can check all my skills and what I'm saying on my channel. Come on, Tales of Fox. What are you doing? Why can't it be my channel? Somehow I'm losing subscribers. I don't even have that many. First, the right time to attack your opponent depends on your weapon and from his or her playstyle. Only a little from his weapon if you know your weapon, and learn the playstyle of your opponent. Very easy to do. Everyone just backstep in R1 and Scholar. Well, I don't have Scholar, so I don't know. And you can find a little window where you can move and attack. Again, this is another person who's confused on my question. Second, if your first attack goes well, try to do a combo with 2 or 3 attacks, but don't spam. For example, a great club combo R1 will not hit your opponent, but a combo of R1, R2, and two-handed R2 unlocked, obviously, you will surprise him, and the duel is almost win. Sorry for my bad English. Read it only if my grammar, if I made grammar mistakes. Actually, you didn't do too bad. I gotta be honest. Your grammar, except for maybe the last part, duel is almost win. Duel is almost over, maybe. But no, it's fine. I mean, the fact that you probably speak 2 languages is way better than everybody in the U.S. basically. All right, let's go to the next one though. Uncle Otis says, whenever you are within range and have expendable stamina, though you are right in that it's not as easy to answer as one may think. Many variables can change my answer. Example, if I'm invaded, honor be damned, I will attack immediately. This is a thing that actually comes up a little bit more, and I will touch on it a little bit more as far as the invasion. But let's go. I think now where you might be starting to get into more people who understand what my question was, which was before the fight starts, when do you start attacking? Like, when do you know it's the right time to attack? And you know, a lot of people have different opinions. So let's see. Guild Assassin on YouTube still says, the best time to attack is after both you and your opponent have not done anything for the past 3 minutes. He caves in, goes to attack, and you dodge and counter it because it's the do nothing meta, so it's prevalent. I like to say it's the wait and see meta or whatever. But you know, do nothing, I guess it's the same thing. The sad joke aside, the amount of do nothing or wait and see and reactive players is staggering, especially if you're using an ultra weapon. They literally won't do anything until you do something. As you see in a lot of my videos, if I have a bigger weapon, I've literally stood there for like a minute, did nothing, and they did nothing. I'm like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? And then now I'm just gonna start taking out bows because it's really annoying. All right, anyways, I find it best to create my own openings through a series of intentionally missed attacks. Can lead to follow up R1s, parry baits, or you can do something like missed R1, R2, or missed R2, R2 to hit with the Drake Keeper's Great Axe with some delay. No, I like that. A lot of people do that tricky stuff. Lord Relic, in fact, he does this move, which he's caught me on it a few times, even though I knew like what he was doing. But he'll do this where he intentionally misses an attack just so he can parry after it, because the parry animation is so quick after the attack is already done. So like it's pretty cool. He catches a lot of people on that. Attack cancel are getting people in people's faces to apply constant pressure. An honorable mention goes to the L2, 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 blah, blah, blah. I think I can get this parry eventually meta, which begs you to answer them with a jumping attack. I love jumping attacks. I'm a big fan. I do it a lot. The counter to people not attacking, making them afraid they're going to be attacked, get up in their face and force them to start playing backpedal souls, and you play aggression souls better than they can deal with it. That's exactly what I do. I like hug people. I like kiss people. I'm right in their face for so long because I know the type of, most players play that, you know, at least in the beginning, wait and see type. So what I do is I get right in their face. I wait for them to roll. I run after them, wait for them to roll. I just still don't attack. I wait for like enough rolls or enough movement that they're like, well, is this guy ever gonna attack? And then I attack and then get that hit in, baby. All right, let's go to Mirzi. Mirzi on YouTube says, firstly, hi Dante. Long time no speak. Secondly, hurry the fudge up and get Scholar for Xbox One. You scrub. Don't have the money, man. I don't know what to tell you. Now to the point of the video. As you know, my thoughts on the subject, I will put it to your viewers. The point to start attacking is the moment after you conclude what type of player you are facing. Are the honorable with a U, because he is from the land, the motherland, really. Not Russia, though. Are they trying to get a cheap shot straight off the bat? Are they taking 5 minutes to buff, putting their makeup on, and you attack a Gorlian? But this has a lot to do with that sort of player you are also. Yeah, I mean, this is go back to, I mean, he's sort of meddling in both type of questions as far as this question is supposed to be. And Yeah, you know, it really relies on your knowledge of the game and how you can react to what type of weapons they might have. But anyways, all right, this is the first answer that is really getting to the real question, at least what I thought was the real question. Exodus the Great on FextraLife says, I assume this is reference to duels, so after they're done buffing, even if they take 30 plus seconds to do so, that's when you attack. That's what he's trying to say. However, he says, in an invasion arena, instant, absolutely no waiting around. In invasions, I think I definitely agree in invasions, because like, even though I'm still honorable if I invade or get invaded, because that's just how I am, still, invasions are invasions. Somebody is trying to kill somebody else, so just like, you just have to be prepared, basically. Next person, NPC Invader, says, if it's a duel, I just wait until the other one is ready. Usually you wait for 2 buffs at much, so no big deal. I used to play with fast rolling iron flesh build, so I know the importance of having a buff ready. That buff defined my playstyle. Also, it's not like we still have buff stacking. Do you people remember? Numbness, Sacred Oath, Magic Barrier, the holy trinity of self buffs of the Helixodon, not counting resonant weapon, and the resins for 2 spears. If it's an invasion, I will just attack as soon as possible. Again, another person who agrees with the invasions deal. This just reminded me of some funny hate mail and about buffing I got one time. Yeah, that was just, he posted another picture, but I don't have it. Yeah, I mean, again, that's how that is. It is crazy, like, how long it's been since you can super buff. People still do it now because they don't know that it's been patched, but you still see it, like, oh, Sacred Oath and Great Magic Barrier and all this other crap, and you're like, oh, you can't do that. Like, it's only one now, so you're wasting everybody's time. So, like, if somebody attacks somebody doing that, I don't know. Maybe you should just message and be like, you can't do that anymore. It doesn't work. I don't know. Anyways, let's go to Anunnakis. He says, or she, or it. Maybe it's a dog. I always bow myself to the other player's personal etiquette, since you can cancel anytime. It actually almost guarantees a first free hit if they try to hit you during your bowing, so why not? I find it a very good way to size the behavior value of the opponent in general. This I absolutely 100% agree with on almost every single level with it. One, I'm a person who always bows. Always. Rarely do I just attack somebody. Like, if somebody ganks me and I remember their name or something and I just invaded them or something, I will attack them because honestly they deserve it. You know. But other than that, I always bow. And again, like, you know, if you're a terrible player and you can't like react to the point where if you're bowing and they're close and you don't think they'll hit, like, you always have to think they're gonna hit you. So like he said, you might get a free hit, and exactly, if anyone ever attacks me, then I'm going full force at them until one of us is dead. That's just how I attack. I will always try to bow. If that doesn't work out, then, like, if they shoot an arrow or magic or something, then I'm just going full force at their face. There's no other trying to bow or buff or whatever. I mean, I don't buff anyway, so, you know, that's not a big deal to me, but I do bow every fight. He then says, I wait for the other to do the same without very high expectations, and if no response, I proceed to sword crossing as usual, only earlier. I let buffers buff as much as they want, generally sighing, as this is generally a good indication that this is an average or beginner opponent, and that the fight will be boring and about voiding being R1 spammed after a missed parry that never seemed to land on brainless spammers of this sort. In my experience, good players tend to switch weapons a lot, defeating the very purpose of buffing one. That's interesting. I actually haven't thought about good players switching weapons. I can see that players switching weapons to combat people with similar weapons. I've definitely seen that. Sometimes, though, if I run into the same buffer repeatedly, I do not wait for the buff and just attack on sight out of sheer exasperation. If they start by taunting, I make sure to place a mock every now and then during the fight. Now, here's what I like to do is, if someone does a taunt that isn't a bow or one of those gestures that you might typically see in the beginning of a fight, I then do that taunt after I kill them. And that's it. Like, it's nothing big and no big deal or whatever, but This is something I do to make them feel extra worse about being beaten by somebody who doesn't buff. Hiroki Sugihara, I think. Hiroki Sugihara. All right. When they bow or buff naturally, this isn't comfort souls. I'm not here to be your friend. If we're dueling, one of us is going to have to run all the way back for their souls, and that's not going to be me. With friends, it's different, of course. So this guy or girl is taking the approach of, like he said, it's not comfort souls, which I do like that. It isn't comfort souls. I mean, the whole deal of the game, somebody's dying. Somebody is dead sometime soon. That's basically what it's supposed to be. And like you said, if it's on the bridge or something, then obviously somebody is going to have to get their souls somewhere. If it's in the arena, obviously that doesn't apply. Let's go to the next one. Let's go back to YouTube. Elwood P. Dowd says, I think after we both gesture, then it's game on. See, I like that. I like the idea of, I think it was Mirzi. Mirzi says, gesturing. Of course, he didn't say it on this video, but he usually says he hates people who gesture, then buff. He always wants people to buff, then gesture. And I kind of understand that. I always buff before I gesture because of this. Because to me, it's like after boxers touch gloves and they go at it. So if people buff after the gesture, I don't see it as being a scumbag and attacking them. I actually kind of agree with it. I see it as punishing a mistake, but my weight also depends on my move. If I've been ganked a lot that day, I'm very aggressive and I don't even gesture. Other days, I'm lighthearted and jolly and good around. So, I mean, you got to get him on his good side so he doesn't just attack you straight away. That's funny. Nova Violet on FextraLife says, there's a lot of body language that clues you into when it's a good time to start attacking another player. Usually a lot of the nuances and assumptions come from experience. That's true. And there is really no placeholder for that. If they are buffing a second time after their initial buff, they are free game by honor dueling traditions. I actually, especially in a fight, like if you guys were fighting and you were attacking, like somebody got hit or something somewhere, well, not even, like if somebody just swung a sword or whatever weapon, then if they're trying to buff again, you kill them. All right, you do not let them get that extra buff. F that. All right, because that could have been a heal and you could have just let them heal. So no, screw that. They get attacked any second buff. Of course, if they're in the beginning, at least for me, if they're in the beginning and they're buffing like 30 times, one, it's dumb anyway, but whatever, let them have it. As we'll get to another guy who says something about why they allow them. We'll get to it, don't worry. Nova Violet then goes on to say, good, I think he means cues with the C, are when your opponent starts doing this back and forth dance. It's a sign of agitation and impatience. I don't give them any opportunity. Very rarely is someone sitting behind a TV screen worth the benefit of the doubt if they don't bow right away or behave conspicuously, and just standing there letting someone kill me as always seems pretty weak to me. If they want to fight that way, it just makes it more fun to beat them by their rules. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, a lot of people, and you know, even I've been in the situation where I had to maybe get a drink or even go to the bathroom like really badly, like emergency, which rarely happens to me because I'm not like ridiculous. But you know, in arena, people may be waiting like 10 minutes, and what I usually do for someone who like is clearly not there is I just shoot an arrow at their face, or I shield bash them and wait for them to come back. And I'll even let them heal because I don't want that extra damage taken away. Be like, oh, you only won because blah, blah, blah. No, you know, that at least for me, I like dueling people. I like winning, and I like winning fairly, because if I don't win fairly, then that sucks. Like, how am I getting better at the game, or how do I feel good about that, you know? All right, so we'll go. Al Kaiser says, when my enemy locks onto me, I will also attack my enemy if they lock onto me but don't even make an attempt to attack. Like, don't waste my time, bruh. Also, I will attack if I see you trying to use a million buffs before fighting. Again, no wasting time. If your build requires a million buffs for every fight ever, I'm sorry, use another build. Of course, the exception is with friends who are testing builds against me. Now, a lot of people have the exception with friends. This is interesting. Now, the only thing I find interesting about this is with higher level, I can see attacking someone who's trying to buff forever because, like, you don't really need it, obviously. With lower level, if you have a very specific type of build, and like this is a buff build where, you know, you put your whatever in attunement or something, or you had to put it in a different thing, then, you know, it's like that's their build. I would say in lower level, I wouldn't do. I mean, I don't do any of this anyway, but you know, I could see, I guess, an argument against what he says here. Anyways, let's go back to Pete Hogg on FextraLife. He says, I wait for them to buff, then I lock on target and wait for them to lock on target. Once they do, the fight is on. That's usually how I do it. I usually wait for lock on and movement, and depending on if it's a, you know, everybody, I think everybody's been in a situation where they've been summoned into the world, they beat all the red phantoms, and then they have the actual world leader still there, and you're not sure if you're fighting them or like this happened to me a lot. I'm not sure if I'm fighting them, so I actually sort of wait for them to attack first, and I'm like, all right, I'm not sure, because sometimes people just attack for fun, just to like, because it's boring waiting for new people to spawn in. So, you know, I wait, and then as soon as they attack first, obviously that's it. But if they lock on and you're sort of circling around each other, then I might attack first at that point. That's just me personally. I always bow. As one guy said in earlier Dante's discussion, he said he's somewhat of an honor fag. Obviously, you know, I don't appreciate that term or anything, because why? But as far as vernacular, I would consider myself one of those, just because like I'm so honorable, and even maybe to a fault at sometimes. So let's go on to the next one. Praise the sun says, I'm at a point where I have to pamper my opponents by waiting and doing the usual gesture ritual. If I don't, there's a high chance the opposite duelist will just run off in a hissy fit. Effing annoying. This is the one I wanted to get to. This is definitely true. This is one reason why I always let people buff and do that. One, like he says, I don't want people freaking running away, healing. Oh, you didn't let me buff. You played cheap. I also don't want anybody ever sending me a message like, I can't believe how cheap you are. Are you such a scrub? You can't allow someone to blah, blah, blah. It's like, I never want those. If I get those messages, then whatever win I would have had or could have had or did have, it's just nullified, because I'm like, well, he's sort of right. I did attack him, and his life was, you know, less when we started the fight because I didn't let him buff, so he wasn't his real character. Then maybe he got flustered, and maybe it wasn't a real fight. That's the type of crap I try to avoid as much as possible. I just don't want any of it. I don't want any excuses ever. I've heard all the excuses in the world. I've heard the excuses, oh, I was tired, you got lucky. It's like, I can't believe that. I never hear connection issues, unless, I mean, if they're from a different country with a different language, you obviously don't hear it, probably because they don't speak your language, for one. But two, you probably don't hear it because their connection is the one that's bad. It's just like, I don't want any of these excuses when I fight people. That's the main point of me waiting for everybody. For me, personally, I can't stand it. No excuses. I cannot stand people who have excuses. I know in my videos I like complain a lot because I don't like losing. What the hell am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be just silent and just like let it bubble up? No, I want to complain that I can't believe I lost to this person. They got lucky, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean anything usually. It's just me just getting out my hate for me playing badly or something like that. But all right, I went off the rails a little bit. All right, now we're going to Forum Pirate. He says, on site, unless there are specific rules, like Fight Club rules, stating otherwise, if I buff first and it's a 1v1, I'll usually let them, but no promises. You know, it's... The only thing I don't like about this is he sort of is like a case-by-case basis, and it's sort of like, oh, how I feel. It's however I feel, but at the same time, it's like you gotta be prepared for somebody just attacking you whenever. So if you're buffing and it's one of those super long buffs, and someone attacks you, then it's like, all right, now I know what type of opponent I'm playing. Let's hopefully I can win against them, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, if you're gesturing, you can just move out of the way most of the time with anything. So, and get with it, people. All right. Plauto777 says, if it's a duel outside of the arena, I let them buff up to 2 times, or else there is the danger of them running away, wasting my time even more. But if I see them buffing in the arena in front of me, they will get smacked. I'm not waiting for them to buff outside of their cell because they want to squish out some more seconds from their buff. I somewhat agree with this. I actually do think in your cage, buffing up, that's where you should buff up. because of time. I feel like time is, you should try to save everybody's time because you can't get time back, honestly. Like, once it's gone, that's it. What I just said, gone. Done. I mean, obviously it's on video, but it is gone. I've wasted my time saying it. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully somebody will enjoy this video. But no, I agree that that's where people should buff. Of course, I would say most people don't, but there are some people who do. Jacob Koskowski says on YouTube, most of my opponents are impatient and attack while I bow. Then I parry. They get mad because they are greedy, wait, and parry. Okay, so he just parries them when they're jerks. That's good. Back to FextraLife. Holy Luigi. When they buff and stuff, I strategically put a warmth near me and proceed to spell parry the hell out of them just for giggles. When I grow tired of them, Drake Keeper's great axe to the face. It is. Nobody can outperform two-hand R2 of that beast, maybe Dark Kananas, but there's Transgressor Shield for that, so screw them. We got Baseborn that says, whenever I feel like it. Sometimes I wait, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I bow, wave, sometimes I don't. I have no set rule, but I typically let them do everything they feel they need to prepare. Typically. Eldritch Imagination says, when you see them, if there's someone else already fighting them, wait your turn. So he's just all about just destroying them whenever you see them. Start attacking straight away, Wilson Rain 114 says. Throw a turd pie in their face and spam Acid Surge and Corrosive Urns till their equipment breaks. Don't stop till they scream for mercy. That's a Trollymon. And then Exala says, when they start buffing, praise the sun. Of course, I added the praise the sun bit. I don't know. I don't know if there is a right way to actually attack people. I mean, if you're honorable, I do think if someone bows to you and you bow to them, that's it. You don't have to let them buff. I do, because I just don't want the excuses. I guess it all depends on yourself, how you want to play, how you want to perceive your enemies. Obviously, depends on how you want to play. I think really the meaning behind this, or the moral, is you got to be prepared for somebody attacking you. That's it. If you complain that, oh, somebody attacked me in a game that's about fighting, come on. Really? You just have to be prepared. If you're a person who buffs and you get attacked by buffing, take that hit, take it with grace, try to come back, win, make them feel stupid about it. You know, don't complain. Don't be like, oh, I lost because they No, that's the game. You know, if you're bowing and you get hit, why didn't you press B? Honestly, why didn't you press B? Like, that's ridiculous. You could get out of that. That's fine. That's no big deal. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's answers. Obviously, a little bit different opinions. Everybody has their like own little nuances of how they go about first attacking people, or sort of knowing when to attack somebody. And you know, I appreciate that. That's how the game is. As I said before, the way I do it is I let them do everything. I let them bow and buff, buff and bow. They can do everything because I don't want to win and them have an excuse. That's my main issue. I can't drive that home enough. Oh, I hate it. Can't stand it. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this. I hope, you know, if you put yours here, I put it on here, and you enjoy it, tell everybody you can. I really rely on people spreading the message about my channel because I need it. Honestly, like, I don't know how else to do it. I make all these videos and I try. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Please tell as many people as you can if you enjoyed. If you don't enjoy it, I'm sorry. I wish I could be better for you. So like, comment, subscribe, and I will be back